I left my boring husband for a man who made me feel alive. 6 months later, I found his journal and realized what I threw away. My ex-husband Daniel and I were married for 6 years. We met in our mid-20s through mutual friends, and everything about our relationship was easy. He was calm and steady and reliable. He worked as an accountant and came home at the same time every day. We ate dinner together every night and watched shows on the couch and went to bed at the same time. Our weekends were quiet, farmers markets and bookstores and cooking together. He would read while I scrolled on my phone, and sometimes we wouldn't talk for hours, but we were always in the same room. I used to find comfort in that. Around year 4, I started feeling like something was missing. My coworkers talked about their exciting weekends and spontaneous trips and passionate fights with their partners, and I had nothing to contribute. Daniel and I never fought. We never raised our voices. Everything was calm all the time, and I started to resent him for it. I convinced myself that calm meant he didn't care, that steady meant he wasn't passionate about me. I wanted fireworks and intensity and someone who would fight for me even if it meant fighting with me. Then I met Ryan at a work conference. He was the opposite of Daniel in every single way, loud and spontaneous and unpredictable. He made me feel things I hadn't felt in years. My heart would race when I saw his name on my phone. I started comparing everything Daniel did to him. Daniel's quiet. I love you in the morning became boring. Ryan's random text telling me he couldn't stop thinking about me became exciting. I started picking fights with Daniel just to see if he would react. He never did. He would just ask what was wrong and how he could help, and that made me even angrier. I wanted him to yell at me. I wanted proof that he cared enough to be jealous or angry or anything other than calm. When I told him I wanted a divorce, he didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just sat there for a long time and asked if there was anything he could do to change my mind. I said no. He asked if there was someone else. I lied and said no. He nodded and said okay. That was it. No fight, no begging. I took that as confirmation that he didn't care enough to try. The divorce was quick and painless. He only asked for a few things that belonged to his late mother. I moved in with Ryan 2 weeks after the papers were signed. For the first few months, it was everything I wanted. Passion and intensity and spontaneity. We stayed out until 3 in the morning and argued about stupid things and made up dramatically. I felt alive for the first time in years. Then the excitement became exhausting. The spontaneity meant I never knew if he would show up when he said he would. The intensity meant small disagreements became screaming matches that left me drained. I started missing the quiet dinners and predictable evenings and the calm presence of someone who was just there. Last month, I went back to my old house to get some boxes from the garage. Daniel wasn't home, so I let myself in with the key I still had. The house looked the same but emptier. I grabbed my things and was about to leave when I saw a notebook on the kitchen counter. I opened it even though I knew I shouldn't. It was a journal Daniel never once mentioned during our entire marriage. I flipped to a page from 3 years ago. He wrote about loving to watch me read on the couch even when I didn't notice. He wrote about memorizing how I take my coffee so he could make it every morning without asking. He wrote about being scared he wasn't exciting enough, and secretly planning a trip to Paris for our anniversary, because he wanted to see my face light up again. I flipped to the week I asked for divorce. He wrote that he knew something was wrong for months but didn't know how to fix it. He wrote that he thought about fighting for me but didn't want to trap me in a marriage that made me unhappy. He wrote that letting me go was the hardest thing he ever did, but he loved me enough to want me happy even if it wasn't with him. I sat on his kitchen floor and cried for 2 hours. I cried for the man who loved me quietly while I called him boring.